often begin a 3-course meal with my dessert. I don't know what it is about it, but sometimes it's just fantastic to have it all prepared, so when you're doing your entree and then your main course, the dessert's just there and done. And particularly with the dessert that I'm going to prepare today, I'm doing a strawberry and custard apple chia pudding. Chia seeds take a while to swell. They can take somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour to actually fully swell up. Just roughly take around a cup. And this will feed, 8 people, 6 to 8 people or so. And then we're just going to pour in some water. And as you pour the water in, you really need to stir so that the chia seeds don't clump together. So just mix it around, and you may need to add a bit more water. And you can see they're beginning to sort of clump together. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. Because they're very thirsty, you watch, they're going to double in size. And now you can see the seeds are actually beginning to be coated. And what they're going to do is swell. It may not look like much, it is only a cup, but it will swell and fill the bowl, particularly once we add the fruit and all the flavours and sweeteners into it. So just adding in a little bit more water until I'm ready to actually prepare the dessert and add the fruit, and we'll then get on with the entree. So as you can see, the chia seeds here have soaked beautifully. They're quite still thick and ploppy, but I've got to add a fair bit of liquid yet. I can always add a bit of water if I need it to thin it out a little bit, but it's best to wait till the end, because by the time I add the lime juice and the maple syrup and the coconut milk, it may actually be liquidy and runny enough. So first of all, I'm going to add the maple syrup, and I've got roughly half a cup, but do it to your own sweet taste. Again, you can always add more if you need to. These are dried organic cranberries. What they add is this beautiful chewy texture. I always add something chewy to all my chia puddings. I guess it's part of what I like to do. I've got some coconut milk here. I'm just going to add it slowly because it's so white and strong that I may not need as much as I think. To make this dish 100% raw, you just get a fresh whole coconut, one of the Thailand ones that you can pick up from the supermarkets or some sort of health food shop fruiterers, and you just cut them in half and you scoop out that soft fleshy bit, and you add roughly 1 cup of flesh to 1 cup of water and just blend it in your blender. Or you can use the coconut milk, of course, the natural milk that's in the coconut, and blend them up together and you get a raw coconut cream. I'm just going to pour in half to begin with and then just see how much I actually need. So just mixing everything around together. So I've got the maple syrup, the cranberries, some of my liquids. So you can see already just even that coconut milk has sort of loosened up the texture of the chia seeds. So now I'm just going to juice up a lime just to add a little bit of a tanginess, just again to contrast that beautiful maple syrup sweetness. And one thing I forgot to mention about maple syrups was that I love maple syrup because it's full of minerals and nutrients, and that's why I tend to use it in a lot of things, and it works really well with chia. So one thing about this dish is the chia seeds are so good for you. They're high in protein, they're really high in omega-3s, and they're extremely hydrating. So it's a perfect dish for the summer or for people who are really active, because it really helps the body retain the water. I mean, you've seen how much they've retained the liquid that we've added from the beginning. 2 cups or so of liquid, and we're adding more now liquid. So it really is a fantastic hydrating food as well. So I love desserts that are good for you, because then you don't feel so guilty. And now for the fruit. Look at that for colour. I know for a fact that the farmer I spoke to picked these strawberries this morning. They're the first full 2 punnets off his bunch, and he's given them to me to use for today's recipe. I can tell already these are going to be absolutely gorgeous. So let's chop them up. They're a great winter fruit. When they come around in season, it's such an exciting time. And that's another reason why I love to eat seasonally, because the thing about it is you're eating the food when nature is in tune and creating this wonderful food. When you get strawberries all year round, they become a boring fruit, you know, like apples used to be when I was a kid. It's like, who wants an apple? But now, when I eat in season, I find I get excited because most things have a very short growing season. So things like strawberries, you know, they're only around for 6 weeks or so. Going to the farmer's market and asking them, what's the best custard apple that you've got? You know, is this ready to eat now? They know their produce. They know what they're growing and how to cut it and how to use it. It's always great to get tips and also find out what they're cooking with it. That's also something that really excites me about getting to know the farmers, because I say, well, what do you do with it? In fact, the grower that bought this off me, I just remember Jane, she said to me, she just had pulled out a tray of custard apple muffins. Now, I'd never thought to bake with them. I said to her, I've always only ever cooked them or prepared them fresh in fruit salads. But she said she baked them with muffins. I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I never heard of it and never would have thought to do it. So ask your growers, what are they doing with the produce that they're growing? So I'm just going to cut the custard apple in half. So for those of you who've never seen one, have a look at that beautiful white, sort of creamy coloured flesh. So you can use a spoon to just gouge out the segments. There's sort of little segments in there. So I'm just going to stir in the custard apple and the strawberry. And then as a finishing touch, I've decided to add a little bit of passion fruit. And the passion fruit's just going to add a little bit of extra sweetness and tang, and also a little bit of extra crunch. Just pierce the skin with a knife and then edge your way around. Don't cut it all the way, and that way you won't lose any of the juice on the board. And then just tear it open in half, and I just keep it open using my finger and my thumb, and then just scrape out all the pulp just straight into the bowl. I can smell these passion fruits. They are amazing. They're really passion fruity. Look at that for a beautiful seasonal dessert that's healthy and that's light, but also really delicious. So we're just going to spoon that in and just fill up the glasses. Just try to plop it into the center and it will just gently fill the gaps. Some of my most favorite recipes are essentially because they're so versatile. I eat this all year round. It can be used in so many different ways, and really it just depends on the fruit in season at the time. So through the summer I throw mangoes and limes and pineapples and all the other soft fruits like peaches and even apricots are really delicious in it as well. And then through the winter I put apples and pears and then I'll use currants instead of cranberries or sultanas even. Anything that's got chewy. And even goji berries, they're really nice in it. If you've got no other red fruit, they look really good because they add a little speckle of red to, you know, the finished product. We're just going to finish it off by putting half a strawberry on the top, or a couple of strawberries, as if we couldn't get enough strawberries at this time of the year. And then I think we'll just pop a little mint on the top. This is my kind of food. It's organic, it's fresh today, it's thrown together in a short amount of time because let's face it, everybody's busy and we don't always have time to prepare food, you know, exactly the way we want it. But really it's a thrown together, relatively rustic dish that is going to be so full of beautiful flavours. And this is the sort of food I eat every day. Healthy, nutritious, light and full of rich flavours.